Very good morning to all of you. On behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I welcome you all to the webinar on good governance system in government, transparency and accountability in government financial reporting and management. I would like to welcome CA S.N. Gupta, Joint Director, who is also heading Technical Directorate of ICAI, to set out the tone of the webinar and provide us with the background thereof. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. So, on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI, I extend a very warm welcome to all the viewers of this live webinar on good governance system in government, transparency and accountability in government financial reporting and management. I am thankful to all the dignitaries who have agreed to spare their valuable time with us as a faculty on this webinar. We have with us Shri Harish Srivastavaji, Joint CGA, who will cover initiatives that are being undertaken by the government in improving financial reporting practices and in management thereof, followed by a session to be taken by CS Sumita Bhareji, who will throw light on the role being played and prospective role which a CA can play in this area. Here I would like to mention the role already being played by the Institute in this area. In the direction of improving financial reporting and financial management, the ICI as a partner in national building is making significant efforts to prescribe and support in implementation of high quality accrual accounting framework for local bodies, accounting standard for local bodies. This is at par with internationally accepted accounting and financial reporting standard for application of government of all levels. ASLB set out recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure requirement dealing with transactions and even in general purpose financial statement of local bodies under accrual basis of accounting. Till date, we have 30 ASLBs which has been issued by ICAI, including one cash-based ASLB to facilitate transition from cash basis to accrual basis of accounting that are recommendatory in nature at present and will become mandatory from the date specified in this regard by the state government concerned. For the ease of various stakeholders and users, the committee has issued publication of ASLB at a glance, which covers ASLB in a simple language to enhance the outreach amongst prospective users and the concerned authorities. Here I may mention that the Council of ICAI has already mandated its members to follow ASLB 2 cash flow statement and ASLB 5 borrowing cost, while the auditing the financial statement of urban local bodies for the period commencing on or after 1st April 2022. This year, we have came out with the guidance note on accounting for investment for local bodies to provide guidance on accounting for material investment, including the presentation and disclosures in the financial statement. This will help in streamlining the diverse accounting practices being followed in local bodies in respect of investment. As decided by the Council, the guidance note is applicable with effect from 1st April 2022. Further to the above, we have brought out an e-book on role of professional accountants in public financial management to create a basic level of understanding among the reader, particularly the accountant, in respect of financial management. This area not only require excellence in the field of accounting, auditing, law, governance, etc., but also require a good understanding of how government work and what are the citizens' needs. The e-book is a very lucid language, summarizes the public financial management system in India, public expenditure and financial accountability and opportunities available for professional accountant. Our certificate courses on public finance and government accounting has been noticed by policymakers, and state government have started including it as a criteria in assignment allocation. We are presently running 18th online batch of the course. We have also introduced online self-paced course on public finance and government accounting on DLH platform, consisting of video recording of certificate courses lectures that may be watched anytime, anywhere. There is no fee for self-paced course of ICI member. Chartered accountants can support the the urban local bodies in improving financial reporting and financial management, service delivery, and effective and efficient utilization of resources within the constrained budget, getting performance grants that are linked with accounting reforms, augmenting revenues, exploring new ways of raising finance to make them self-sustainable, to raise finances on the basis of their own financial statement and performance, and so on. We hope that all of you will be able to learn about this area of practice and the benefits from the deliberation of the webinar. I once again wholeheartedly welcome all the participants for this webinar who are learning online through this webinar. Wish you all a very happy learning. Over to you, Shivani.
Thank you very much, sir, for your encouraging words. Now let me introduce the faculties for the day. The first session will be taken by Shri Harish Kumar Srivastav, a senior government official from Indian Civil Account Service 1997 batch. He has served as financial advisor and chief accounts officer, Indian Government Mint, where he played a key role in corporatization of mints and presses into the Security Printing and Minting Corporation of India Limited. Thereafter, in his role as Deputy Controller General of Accounts, he rendered technical advice issues related to budgeting, accounting and banking arrangement, assisted the Sundaramati Committee constituted by Government of India to revise the existing chart of accounts, and played a key role in implementation of an electronic payment system catered to enhance efficiency in public expenditure system in all central ministries and departments. Later, as Director Budget in Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, he contributed to the preparation of Union Budget, cash management, and debt management thereof. Currently, he is posted as Joint Controller General of Accounts in CGA headquarters. Now, I request him to please share his views on the today's theme, transparency and accountability in government financial reporting and management. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you. I'm happy to be in this webinar to share my views. Mr. Gupta talked about the course on certification in public financial management, which ICAI has been running for quite a long time now. And I have been a regular faculty for that course. From the experience of chairing or delivering lectures during that course and interacting with the participants, I would like to say that there is a considerable amount of okay, sorry, there was some problem with the battery and now it's okay. Okay, so I was saying that from my experience of being associated with that course on public certification in public financial management, I can say that there is a considerable amount of interest among the chartered accountants about to know about the government accounting framework, government financial management systems, and also to learn the nuances of government financial management. And that's a very encouraging trend, because as we go along down the line, and we would like to associate experts from different fields and to give value addition to the current accounting structure, and also to carry forward various. We would like to associate having an association with a chartered accountant will pay dividend. There is no doubt about it. Now, coming to the topic of transparency and accountability in financial reporting and management in the government, I would like to touch upon a few areas. First of all, as we all know, government has Can you just give me 1 minute? I would like to log in from my desktop. This is giving problem.
कर दिया इनको, कोई करना है तो फिर डिलीवरी तो कोई नहीं।
यस मैम। नलिन वो कुछ हम लोगों ने चेंज किया है, शायद वो साहू या किसी से डिस्कस कर रहा है। Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
My video is not. Can you see? Is it?
No, sir, video is not visible, but only audio is visible. We can hear you.
Okay, just give me one. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir, it's fine.
Okay, so I was just coming to the subject, that is transparency and accountability in financial reporting and management in the government. See, I would like to see this issue from the point of view of the structure of the government as a whole. And as we all know, our government has a three-tier structure, that is central government, state governments, and local bodies. And I would like to discuss the status and the issues in the transparency and accountability in the financial reporting and management at different levels. Because in the beginning also Mr. Gupta highlighted the issues of local bodies and the structure of accounting and reporting and standards being followed by local bodies. Let me say that general government reporting, it's a international good practice being practiced in various developed countries, where the finances of the country is looked at in a holistic manner at the macro level, where the consolidation of accounting and financial information at each level is done. That only gives you the correct and realistic financial position of that country. And in the beginning, I would like to raise this issue that this aspect of general government reporting is still at the incipient stage, at the preliminary stage so far as our country is concerned. And here we have a bigger role, I mean, including the role of ICAI and other expert bodies in providing wherewithal to have such kinds of consolidation at different levels. Now, I'll give you an example of financial reporting. At the central level, everybody must be using the information system available in the domain, public domain of the CGA website. So cga.nic.in is the place where you can find information about monthly payments, receipts, reserve funds, all types of tax collection with all the details, breakup of taxes, non-taxes, even during under the expenditure, you can have the breakup of capital, revenue, fiscal deficit, yardsticks, etc. It's a detailed reporting which is available, and the periodicity is monthly, quarterly, and annual. There are two sets of annual accounts which are prepared by Office of CGA and presented in the Parliament. In fact, the good thing about government financial reporting is that the mandate comes directly from the Constitution, where under Article 151, we are mandated to prepare annual accounts, which are called annual appropriation accounts, and second is annual finance accounts, and these are to be laid in the Parliament after getting it audited by CNAG. So there are elaborate financial reporting material available so far as central government is concerned. And similar is the situation with the state government, more or less. There may be some time lag in preparation of those monthly accounts and annual accounts, depending on the level of automation of the financial and accounting system in the states, but the structure is more or less similar. The accounting standard which Mr. Gupta talked about, which is being formulated by Government Accounting Standard Advisory Board, and ICAI is an active member of that board. I mean, these standards are also applicable to union and states. So whenever now we have three accounting standards which have been notified, one is guaranteed, second is grant in aid, and third is on loans and advances. So now we have these three accounting standards are applicable to the center and states both. So the financial reports related to the guarantees, that is contingent liability, grants in aid to different agencies, and also loans and advances to different entities are prepared by center and state in that framework. Now the missing link is the third tier, urban local bodies and rural local bodies. And now let me inform this gathering that recently Ministry of Urban Housing and Urban Affairs set up a committee on harmonization of accounts of urban local bodies with center and states. And that committee was chaired by our previous former Controller General of Accounts. And while working with that committee, we found that there are glaring disparities in the urban local bodies so far as maintenance of accounts and financial reporting and management is concerned. Now, let me give you one example. National Municipal Accounting Manual is the reference point for maintenance of accounts in urban local bodies, NMAM. If you go through NMAM, and specifically if you read chapter 4, the chapter 4 of NMAM gives you the detailed accounting structure, formats to be followed by urban local bodies. Now, when we started working and assessing the situation on the ground, we found that large number of, in fact, majority of urban local bodies have only rudimentary accounting system. And that NMAM prescribes accrual-based accounting for urban local bodies. So when we started studying, I mean, we studied 3 state governments and also various municipalities. We found that majority of urban local bodies have only rudimentary accounting systems. Some are maintaining rudimentary ledgers. Some are using only a few accounting heads. There are no standard manuals with reference to the NMAM which have been notified for that. So that is a big gap in the general government reporting system which we have. And here, I know that ICAI has been working with state governments and urban local bodies. Here, the role of expert accountants in implementation of the principles of NMAM in urban local bodies is very important to establish a sound financial reporting system there. Now, coming to rural local bodies, let me inform you that model accounting system, MAS, which was prescribed for panchayats by Ministry of Rural Development in consultation with CGA and CNAG. It gives a basic accounting classification structure for panchayats and also some accounting principles. But again, the capacity is a big issue. As we all are aware, the capacity of hand-holding or assisting panchayats in conforming to these requirements of financial reporting and management is a big challenge. And here again, I flag the role of expert bodies to need for outsourcing personnel at different levels to ensure a sound financial reporting and management at the third level. This was I wanted to put this aspect in the forefront of today's debate, that is the missing link between at the level of urban local bodies and rural local bodies so far as financial reporting and financial management, which includes conforming to the accounting rules and regulations and conforming to the accounting standards is concerned. Now, at the central level, let me flag a few recent initiatives which have really enhanced the level of transparency, accountability of financial management. Now, one of the most recent initiatives is Treasury Single Account System. We all know that huge amount of monies are given by government to the various implementing agencies for implementing various government programs and schemes. And as chartered accountants, you all would be involved in preparing utilization certificates on behalf of those agencies. So you may be aware about this protocol. Now, there is a tendency that the disbursements are made in bulk, either at quarterly or monthly or biannually. And these bulk disbursements lie in the bank accounts of those agencies which are outside the cash balance of the Government of India. Now, as you are aware, these agencies are either registered societies under the Society Act or SPV or PSUs or maybe some other autonomous bodies type of agencies. The bottom line is that these are semi-government entities. These have separate bylaws and separate accounting bank accounts. Now, these monies are lying unutilized for a considerable period of time in the bank accounts of these agencies, whereas the government is borrowing money to fund such expenditure. Now, this goes against the sound principles of cash management by any entity where the money is lying idle in the bank account and the government is borrowing to fund its gap of receipt and expenditure. So to address that, one Treasury Single Account framework was established in which these agencies were asked to open accounts in the Reserve Bank of India itself, where the government cash balance resides. And then PFMS, you may have heard the name of PFMS, Public Financial Management System. We have a very robust IT portal in the name of PFMS, which can take care of such type of functions. And through PFMS, these agencies, whenever required, generate payment advice in PFMS. The payment advice travels from PFMS server to the e-Kuber server of RBI. RBI honors that and pays just in time for those agencies. Now, it has saved a lot of money for the government to go out of the cash balance and lie idle in the bank account of the agencies. That recent initiative, a very important part of financial management in the central government, which has made our cash management more effective than it was earlier. Now, similar approach has been adopted for disbursement under centrally sponsored schemes. Now, you may be aware that under centrally sponsored schemes, the money goes to the state treasuries first, and then from there it flows to the implementing agencies. Now, these state treasuries are independent entities. These are independent political units. This cannot be taken into this treasury single account framework. So, to address that, there is a separate framework called single nodal agency framework, which has been implemented just recently, 5 or 6 months ago, where the state governments are required to open single nodal accounts for each scheme, and where the state share and central share would flow, and that bank account will be visible in the PFMS. The balance will be visible in the PFMS, and only when the majority, that is 75% of the balances, are spent, then the next releases would follow. I mean, this is the broad principle. So the point is that to further strengthen the cash financial management in the center, there have been initiatives to make our cash management more and more initiative in the name of TSA and SNA. You may read all these details about this. We have some user manuals or standard operating procedures, maybe on our website. You can go there and then read about detailed framework of these two systems. Now, one more aspect which I would like to here raise, that the government accounting, reporting and management, financial management, is largely rule-based. There are elaborate manuals and rule books which guide the functions of the government in these aspects, whether it is accounting or reporting or financial management. And whenever I take the session in that course of CPF, I show as the first slide the details of these rule books which are available, which should be referred by the chartered accountants whenever they get an opportunity to work in the government. Now, the implication of this rule-based structure is that the requirement of standards is not felt so strongly. The requirements of standard is not felt so strongly for all aspects, because we have elaborate rules, like we have receipt and payment rules, we have government accounting rules 1990, we have general financial rules, we have various manuals like to guide the functioning of different authorities and processes, like DDO manual, suspense manual, civil accounts manual is the Bible for various processes. That is why the initiatives to notify accounting standards did not keep pace as it should have been, because there was no gap. There was no gap felt for standards so that the processes could be continued. Now, the standards are now being notified to enhance, please mind this term, to enhance the standard and disclosures of government in line with international good practices. For example, IPSAS. IPSAS is International Public Sector Accounting Standard. IPSAS is an international framework for accounting standard, financial reporting. So there is a need to align our disclosures also to the international best practices, and that is why GAZAB has been working on notifying the accounting standards. Now, IPSAS 22 on the general government reporting. If you see, then you can find the gap which general reporting in the to be prescribed and what we have will be felt. IPSAS 22 general government reporting structure. So there is a need for accounting standard to enhance the quality of our financial reporting, to enhance the disclosure materials in line with international best practices. There is no doubt about it. Now, another issue which I would like to touch here is the implementation of accrual-based accounting in the government. And this has been debated for quite a long time. There was a time in 2010, 11 or 12 where the institution of CNAG was driving this reform quite vigorously. If you read the reports of finance commissions, 12th Finance Commission and 13th Finance Commission, you can find mention of transition to an accrual-based accounting system in the government. But you can see the shift in approach. 12th Finance Commission highlighted the need for shifting to accrual-based accounting system, but the 13th Finance Commission also highlighted, but it suggested an approach. It said it should be a bubble-up approach from down below to upward. Why? Because there were pilots for accrual-based accounting system in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, in the Ram Manohar Lohia hospitals. The results of the pilots were consolidated, were examined by Gazab, the institution of accounting standard setting body in CNAG. So the results of these pilots were studied and then put up before the Finance Commission as memoranda. And then it was felt, and please listen very carefully what I am saying now. It was felt that rather than whole hog shifting to accrual-based accounting system in the government, if we take a few initiatives, like we set up a loan accounting system, we revise our chart of accounts to capture accrual elements like assets and liabilities, but within the cash-based accounting framework. If we develop asset tracking system where the physical assets which are procured are capitalized and carried forward, and the finance account statements are revised to capture elements of accrual accounting. The point is, the approach which was put up by the government to the Finance Commission and which was approved by Honorable Finance Minister in 2012, is that we have to move cautiously, take some initiatives as modified cash, or you can say modified accrual, wherein within the cash-based accounting framework, we develop wherewithal to capture accrual elements in our disclosure statements, in our accounting statements. So this is the approach which at present this government is also pursuing. Now, you can ask a question, how can we capture accrual elements in the cash-based accounting framework? It would be a mix of the two. That's a debate. That's a matter of firming up the modalities to achieve. And as we can see now, we have started capturing some elements of assets and liabilities, etc., through various modes. That's a debate which can go on. But the approach is what I just informed. That is the approach so far as transition to accrual-based accounting is concerned. Now, I request all chartered accountants which are present here to, whenever they get opportunity in the government, they should, just give me 1 minute. There is a phone call. Whenever they get associated in the government to work for the government, they should look at they should provide some value addition in the form of enhancing the reporting framework with the approach that the various elements which are captured to depict realistic financial positions could be captured, but without changing the accounting framework per se. You need to think on these lines and provide necessary advice and value addition to the government. That would be really helpful. So I'll stop here. That was all I had to say about transparency and accountability in financial reporting and management. I'm very happy to hear the proactive approach of ICAI to get associated in the government financial management system, to provide value addition, to provide their expertise to this area, to the government. That is most welcome. So thank you very much. So I hand over to Shivani for further deliberation in this webinar.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have received few questions from the members. Like first is, apart from transparency and accountability, which other characteristics define good governance?
Good governance is a very large term. So first and foremost is efficiency of decision making. And now recently you may have heard more about it. I mean, the policy paralysis was prevailing in the country, and then now efficient decision making. There should not be many levels through which the papers and files should go and come. So that is efficiency in decision making. Second is the use of technology. Now, in the current context, the IT-based initiatives provide the core of good governance. The Prime Minister's Digital India dream and initiatives. So you can see in every area of governance, you must have seen recently in the management of COVID. I mean, a very huge vaccination drive was managed so smoothly through CoWIN app. In a country like us where there are states, districts, and far remote areas, located villages, but all were managed through this IT-based portal. So IT initiatives, first, efficiency in decision making, IT initiatives, role of IT. Third, of course, is transparency, where the decisions taken by the governments are clear to the public. The justification and rationale for the decisions are clear, in what interest these decisions are making. Audit trails in the system for every individual or every authority to be identified with that decision. So these are important aspects of good governance, apart from transparency and accountability.
Sir, we have one more question. What are the international good practices to ensure transparency and accountability in government financial reporting and management?
See, as I said, IPSAS, if you read IPSAS, I mean, it has different statements. IPSAS 1, 2, 3, 4, running to, I think, 30 or 40. Every IPSAS standard deals with one subject. Similarly, your accounting standard, ASSR. Now, these provide the disclosure elements which should be captured and reported to ensure good practices in financial reporting. So you need to go through IPSAS, what are the elements there which should be emulated, which should be adopted by countries which are not following that. And let me tell you, Gazab, while developing accounting standards and also IGFRSs, Indian Government Financial Reporting Structure, that is for accrual-based accounting system, it referred to the IPSAS standards. Okay. Next, any question?
Yeah, just a second, sir. Sir, rural local bodies are to be reviewed by state government or central government? This is the question from a member.
See, rural local bodies basically are under the part of the state governments. These are in fact independent tiers of the government as well. So basically, Ministry of Rural Development of the central government, it administers various aspects related to panchayats administration. So these are shared, and the flow of finances are both from central to and also from states, both. So it's a mix of thing, but you can say that these are independent tier of governance in the country, not under any body, central or states. Administratively, Ministry of Rural Development is the administrative ministry for that, but states also have roles in it.
Sir, we have one more question. why different government departments under different ministries till today have not yet been converted into double entry accrual system through the organizations under these authorities have to comply double entry accrual accounting system and accounting standards.
Yeah, I partly explained that in my address. First of all, there is no such need, as I said, for the government as a whole to shift to accrual-based accounting system, because we have been following cash-based. We found it perfectly suited to our requirement. But again, to depict more realistic position of the financial position, we have decided that we will take some initiatives to capture a few accrual elements within the cash framework. Now, it's a fact that there are many authorities and bodies, they adopt accrual, they practice accrual double entry system, which report to the government. But let me clarify you, the accounts of those authorities and bodies are separate from the government. The moment government disburses fund, it is accounted in the government account. Then the fund goes to those authorities and bodies, and they practice different accounting system to take care of that accounting. Shivani, you are muted.
I'm sorry.
Shivani, you are still muted.
Being an employee of government company, what are the role of a member of ICAI on willful negligence by statutory and internal auditors, where we have to report on irregularity because involvement of CS in the form of auditors, CFO and key management are involved?
That's a compliance issue. I really don't have answer in that. I am expert in accounting and financial management. So you may have to refer that question to somebody else. Thank you.
Okay, sir, no issues. Thank you very much, sir. We had a very constructive deliberation from the government's perspective on today's theme. Now, I would like to welcome CA Sumitaba Ray, a seasoned professional with more than 22 years of post-qualification experience, who will introduce us to the role which a chartered accountant can play in this area of practice. He specializes in financial management, government accounting, and implementing computerized accounting systems and implementing financial and accounting reforms in government systems. He is presently working as International Fiduciary Management Specialist in Nepal for School Sector Development Program and as a team leader, Public Finance Management Specialist for strengthening Municipal Financial Management Program of Narayanganj City Corporation in Bangladesh under ADB loan. Welcome, sir.
And Shivani, I may have to leave because my official engagement.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Shivani, shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good morning to India. It's afternoon in Bangladesh. I am in Bangladesh now. I sincerely thank the Institute and the CPAGFM committee for allowing me to make this presentation. Though the invitation came very late yesterday afternoon and I had very little time to complete the presentation and present before yourselves, but hopefully I will be able to discuss about the topic that has been given, which is a very interesting topic. And at this point, I'm working on these aspects only in my both national consultancy and also the international consultancy. So I again thank all the members of the committee for allowing me this opportunity. Without wasting any further time, let me share my screen. It's a short presentation where I had tried to discuss about the topic that has been given. Which I would again say it's a very, very interesting topic. But again, I will request Shibani and her team that in the future, if you can have a detailed or a more timely session on this topic, because this is going to be the happening thing in the future for all our fellow brethren and members of the institute. So let me start by sharing my screen. Just give me a second. Oh, not where I've kept the file. Yeah, hope everybody can see my screen, but I can't see anybody on the other side of the virtual world. So the topic of the day that has been given to me is good governance system in government, transparency and accountability in government financial reporting and management. Now, I would again say it's a very, very interesting topic, and hope that I would be able to make the audience understand that what we are going to discuss under this and what the future lay before us for the members of the institute. Just before I start, just a disclaimer, since I'm in Bangladesh and I have a timing gap of about 30 minutes, so sometimes the time which I see on my watch and the actual time sometimes confuses me. So kindly excuse me if I'm overshooting the time, so please let me know. This particular program, as I understood from Shabi yesterday, it's under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, ACAM program of the Government of India. And this is being organized by our Committee on the Public and Government Financial Management of the Institute. So me, Sumita Ray, though I'm from India, but as I told you, I'm presently now in Bangladesh. Now, a general disclaimer, whatever I will be telling over here and discussing, these are all my personal views. I have done the analysis myself. So if there are certain opinions and other things which becomes a conflict, so kindly excuse for that thing. And no way the institute or any regional branch of institute or any government of India authorities are responsible for all these data and information which are being shown. It's totally my information. Now, the discussion that I planned to prepare and present before yourself, basically under 4 heads, that when we talk about good governance, this is a very catchy word nowadays, good governance. So what exactly we are meaning good governance? And good governance has been defined by the United Nations under various documents and literature. So what exactly we talk about good governance? And then we will be specifically picking up 2 terms, 2 words, that is transparency and accountability. Now, transparency and accountability are basically the 2 of the important concepts of the factors of good governance. We'll just touching upon that. Then we will be slightly discussing in detail about the government accounting and financial reporting and management in India. And I will end my presentation with just touching on the on a very important institute or a body that is being playing a very important role, that is GASAB. And along with GASAB, I will also be trying to discuss very brief about the Indian government financial reporting standards, IGFRS. So this is my presentation outline. Now, before we go on to the details, now one thing we must be very clear, that the government of India's the structure of the governance factors are being provided under our constitution, and our constitution is very specific about the roles, functions, the distinctions between the 3 structures is given very specifically. In India, we have got the central government or the union government at the top. Then we have the state governments and the union territories. And under that, we have the local government. Now, under the local government, again, there is 2 separation, or there's a 2 distinction. One, the rural local government. Sometimes we call them rural local bodies or RLBs or rural local government RLGs, which again is a three-tier structure. Starts with the Zilla Parishad or the Panchayat Zilla Parishad, then the Panchayat Samiti in the city block, and then we have the Gram Panchayat. Now again under the Gram Panchayat we have the Gram Sabha. So this is a very, very specifically given under the constitution. Similarly, for the urban side, we have the municipal corporations, which are larger town areas. Then we have the municipalities. We have the Nagar Panchayats. And under the Nagar Panchayats, we have the ward committee and the area sabhas. So this is a very, very specific structures given. So now under this structure, under the entire government of India's this structure, the entire accounting, the financial management, the functions, roles, etc., are very clearly laid down. So there is no ambiguity whatsoever. Now, but just keeping this in mind, then we move into that what is what, or what are the transparency and accountability we are talking about. Now, good governance. Now, good governance, again, I would say it's a term that is being recently very much in use in our development literature. Whenever we are working for the development sector, we always come with these words, good governance. Now, good and governance, both are there. Now, before we understand what is good governance, it is important to know what is bad governance also equally. Now, basically, bad governance is increasingly be regarded as a root cause of all evil within our society. That means if the government or if there is a lack of governance in the government, then the corruption breeds. Now, this is one of the objectives of various governments in India and across all world, that we have to minimize corruption. Now, we cannot say we have zeroed corruption, but we have to minimize the mitigating the corruption, the risks of corruption. So what is good governance then? A good governance is always where there is no corruption or where there is minimal corruption. Now, basically under good governance, we have got some say 8, some say 12 factors like stakeholder involvement, access to information, training and education, then agreement on elements of success, facilitating innovation, collaborative engagement. So all these are the factors of good governance. Now, as I understand, or as many authors do understand, that this governance is actually means the process of decision making and the process by which decisions are implemented or not implemented. So governance basically starts with the word decision making. That is there a favorable environment, a favorable ecosystem, favorable ambience to have decision making? Are we free to make decisions? Now, when the decisions are made, can the decisions be implemented or they may not be implemented? So this thing is actually governance. So governance is a term that we all know. It's a very old term because decision making had been happening since the start of the civilization. Now when we talk about governance, now governance can be discussed in many various aspects. It can be corporate governance. Now, all of my fellow chartered accountants will understand what corporate governance is all about. International governance, national governance, local governance. So governance as such can be tagged to many things because it is nothing but decision making and how you are implementing the decisions or not implementing the decisions. Now, basically, when we talk about governance, we restrict ourselves to the formal structures of government because the formal structures of government are the main decision-making body in India as of now. Obviously, I'm not talking about the corporate because they are also decision-making body. But since our topic is about governance accounting, government financial reporting, so we will be restricting ourselves to governance in formal structures government of the union government, the state government, and the local government. Now, again, coming to the characteristics that when we say good governance, what are the parameters or what are the characteristics we understand? As I said, some say there are 8 characteristics, some say it's 9 or some say 12. So let's not debate on that. Now, basically, good governance will have the characteristics of, is it participatory? That means whether our decision making is participatory. whether the decision makings are consensus oriented, that means there is a consensus with everybody before the decision is being taken, whether the decisions who will be implementing, those who will be implementing, are accountable for that implementation, whether the decisions are taken on a transparent platform, whether the decisions are responsive, whether it is effective, efficient, and equitable, whether it is inclusive, that means it includes all status and sectors of the society, and finally, that's very, very important, whether the decisions follow the rule of law or is it not. Now, if it doesn't follow the rule of law, then it becomes a bad governance. Now, also good governance will assure that corruption is minimized, the views of minorities are taken into account, the voices of the most vulnerable in the society are heard in the decision making. Now, this is very, very important. And here the United Nations have made a lot of studies, a lot of literature, people go through that. And when, we actively participate in development sector, we have to see whether the voices of the vulnerable people in the society have been heard in our decision making or not. And finally, whatever decisions are taken, it must be responsive to the present and to the future. Now, this is what is all about good governance. Now, as I've told you, good governance has got about 8 or maybe 9 or 12 characteristics. But today in our presentation, what our committee had said, let's concentrate on 2 things, that is accountability and transparency. So now, transparency and accountability. Now, these are 2 of the very 2 important pillars in the good governance structure. Now, as I've told you in this webinar, we are dealing with the twin concepts of the transparency and accountability. And as everybody senior person will realize that these 2 concepts basically are the 2 very important pillars of a democratic governance in modern societies. So since we are in a democracy, since we have a very robust democratic setup in our constitution, so therefore to have a better governance, there must be transparency and accountability. Now let's understand, what do we mean by transparency and accountability? Now, according to the Webster's English Dictionary, the word transparent, if you look at the word transparent, it means the quality or state of being transparent. That means I am open to everyone. That means whatever decisions I have taken, whatever steps I would be taking, whether it be in a family or in a business or in a governance event, it should be transparent. It should not be under a closed cover. That means everybody should know about the decision. So transparency is being the state of being transparent. Now, the word accountability, also described in the Webster's English Dictionary as the quality or state of being accountable. That means if I implement something, if I implement a decision, am I accountable to someone? Will someone question me? Now, this is very, very important. Now, every aspect of our life should be done in such a way that we remain accountable to someone, whether it is accountability to my wife, or whether it is accountability to my son and daughter, whether it is accountability to my colleagues, or whether it is accountable to the larger society. So my decisions, my implementation of the decisions must be accountable. That means I can be held responsible if I have done correct or if I have not done correctly. So it also then means for the public servant, those who are in the government, it means the obligation or willingness to accept responsibility. Now, I may be accepting the responsibility, I may be accountable, but I'm not accepting that accountability. Now, suppose if I do some mistake, my wife catches me. Now, I should have the guts to say to my wife, yes, I have done that, and I may have done wrong. So it should be open. So therefore, accountability is such a factor, is such a world or such a creation that I should be able to say yes or no to anybody. Now, if we bring these 2 words, transparency and accountability, in our governance structure, in a government structure, then what happens? It becomes a critical for efficient functioning of the modern society. And that makes the government responsible to run the modern economy. Now, if the government says, I will not do anything transparently, I will not be accountable to anyone, then the government will collapse. Now, so therefore, these two words are very, very important. Now, when I am giving this, now everything cannot be done by the top bureaucrats or the top person of the society, of the organization, of the government. Every decision cannot be taken by, decision may be taken by the prime minister or the president, but implementation cannot be done by them. It has to be delegated. Now, when we say delegating the functions, the original thought of accountability and transparency must also be delegated. Now, it cannot be said the delegators will say, whatever I've been told, I'm doing it. No, whatever has been told or thought by the original person, that philosophy must stay at the end. Therefore, the society at large will get that power, and that whether they should decide whether the transfer of power is not only effective, but they should also decide whether it has been abused or not. Because getting power means you can be abusing the power also. So here lies the accountability factor. I am doing everything transparently, but whether I'm accountable to say, yes, I may have done wrong. So transparency serves to achieve accountability. So the transparency and accountability are the two important pillars of a society. So any authority can be held responsible for their actions. So without transparency and accountability, now what happens if that gets missed? The trust between the government and whom it is governing gets lost. So everything is on trust and faith. Now, everything is not on a written document or on a legal paper. Everything is on a trust and faith. Therefore, transparency and accountability are the two pillars where the trust must be preserved. Trust must be respected. It must be protected. So therefore, transparency and accountability, when we've understood, now we have to place these two components or these two ideas in our financial reporting. Now, whether the financial reporting, which is our concern, since we are all accountants or mostly if we are chartered accountants, so this has to be brought in the factor that whether this transparency and accountability has been put into the government's financial reporting. Now, just another point. Now, what does this transparency will be all about? Now, transparency should be that the decisions are taken and enforced in accordance with the rules and regulations. So this is very, very important. We cannot take a decision which is outside the law. If we do take any decisions outside the law, it becomes void ab initio. That means from that point one, it is a void decision. It's a void thing. So we can't go. So we have to restrict and understand that decisions must be within the rule of law. There must be a public access to all information. Now, which is not classified. Therefore, many classified information doesn't come up, but the maximum information must be available to the public. Now, if we consider a time, say 1996 or 1994, when we did not have our mobile phones or internets or smartphones, etc., at that time, various information used to be in the paper, in the black and white. Many people didn't have an access to those things. But with the technological advancement, these information have become more accessible. Now, when we talk about the information, communication, and technology advancement, this is the major thing that has happened. Now, I don't subscribe with the views that in ICT reforms have brought ourselves a smartphone where we can hear music, where we can play YouTube, and where we can send pictures and do the Facebook. No, that is a general part of it. But the most important thing that has happened with the smartphones and internets, etc., the information has become accessible. Now, this is what transparency is all about. But definitely, we all understand the Supreme Court has also given certain decisions that doesn't mean that we give everything outside, which is our private information. So privacy laws have come. So that has also to be protected, because at one end there is openness, at another end there is a control on privacy laws. So between these, we have to play our game. Now, we all know in India today, the procurement procedures have become so transparent. Now, anybody can go into the procurement process from anywhere sitting in India. Even today, if I want to join a bid in Jammu and Kashmir, I can do it from Calcutta, or I can do it from anywhere. So this type of openness has happened because access of information has been given, the transparency has come. Now, these are the very important things that have happened over the years, and we must appreciate that slowly and gradually we are moving to a world of good governance, and the bad governance will slowly and gradually die down. Now, again, the information on decisions, implementation of policies, results, it should be made available to the public. Today anything is accessible from the internet. We just go and download and check what is there, what is happening, how much GST collection has happened this month, how much GST has entered. So all these have happened. So we must appreciate also, we must thank our governments, various governments, that these type of innovations have taken place. Now we are all leading to transparency and accountability. Now, accountability, it's very, very important. I am accountable to my family. Someone else is accountable to his or her superior. The subordinates are accountable to his bosses, his or her bosses. So what is accountability? Now, all decision makers, collective and individual, take responsibility for the decision. Now, if I have decided that I will purchase 20 kilo of rice today for my office, then I should stand by the decision. Yes, I have taken the decision. The decision may be bad, the decision may be wrong, but I cannot say after some problems happen that this is not my decision. So I should take the responsibility for the decisions taken. Decisions should be reported on. That means it's not only in a piece of paper, it should be reported on. It should be explained and can be sanctioned also. That means that can be sanctioned, that can be stopped also. But that doesn't mean I will stop taking decisions. Now, if one thinks that if my decision gets sanctioned, so I should not take any decision today, then it is not going to lead to good governance. We cannot say that we are always 100% correct. Some decisions may backfire, but one cannot stop taking decisions if there is a backfire. Now, suppose the decisions are taken, suppose the decisions go right or wrong, there should be effective remedies against maladministration. Now, some decisions when go bad or when it is good, sometimes there is a quote or a quoting of a maladministration also. But at the same time, if there's a maladministration, then the civil society must have a right or a justification to challenge that. So therefore, the civil rights, the civil societies should also know what the decisions are taken. It cannot be taken in a closed door. It has to be open. So these are the basic structure or the basic understanding about transparency and accountability. Now, when we bring these two concepts, these twin concepts to the government accounting and financial reporting, then what we get. Now, basically, when we come to the accounting or the government accounting, we must understand, I don't know the participants today, how much or how many of you are into very rigid government accounting system, or you're only doing the corporate accounting. I don't know anything. But just to give you an idea, those who have not know about government accounting in India, the government accounting is basically can be classified under two groups. The first group is the Union of India and the States of India, because the Union of India and the States of India follow a very similar accounting structure, because this accounting structure has been given by the government of India, and these are ruled, the state governments and the central government accounting are absolutely ruled and follows the rules and acts set by the central government. Now, we have a third tier of government also, which I've told you at the very beginning. The third tier of the government is a local government. In India, when we talk about local government, we have two distinct divisions: the urban local bodies, those who are managing the cities and the towns of the Nagar Panchayat, and we have the rural local bodies, which are basically the villages. Now, villages or the cities, whatever may be, these are also covered under the government accounting system. But as you all know, under the 7th schedule of the Constitution, we have got three lists: the union list, the state list, and the concurrent list. Now, managing the urban local bodies and the rural local bodies comes under the second list or the state list, list 2. Therefore, the panchayats or the municipalities are governed by the state, not by the center. So laws have been developed for local bodies, either the panchayats or the municipalities, by the state governments. Now, I don't want to provide any opinion, but to me, I would say, now this has created a confusion because the number of states that we have the similar number of laws also, the municipal laws and the panchayat laws. And these municipal laws from one state to another, or the panchayat law from one state to another, are not uniform. Because since the function of managing the local bodies are left to the state under the under the state list 2, therefore every state had developed various different laws. Now these laws are not always uniform, though the basic intent of the law may be same. So union government and state government have a similar structure of accounting. They have a similar codification structure. They have similar way of accounting for receipts and payments. But when we come to the local government, be it the panchayat or the municipalities, all states have got different type of presentation and type of systems. So we will be discussing both of them in very brief today. Now, if we come to the administrative structure, just to understand, just to give you an idea, already we have discussed about this. On the top, we have the government of India, there's the union government. Under that, we have the state governments and the union territories. Then under the state governments, in some states, there are divisions. Like I know about Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh has got about 8 to 9 divisions. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the divisions are there. Then under the division, now these divisions are just a cluster of districts, because districts are specific, because the district boundaries are there. Some districts comprise of divisions. Now all states may not have a division, but some states have, some states may not have. But districts have to be there. So districts or Zilla Parishad is there, except I would say in the northeast, in Mizoram, because they are guided by a separate provision of the constitution, like Mizoram and Nagaland. They don't have a concept of a district or the rural government. They have got some village government. So that is a slightly different in the northeast. Now under the district, we have the blocks and the tehsils, and under that the villages. So that's become the rural local government. And under the districts, we may have municipal corporations, like say in Calcutta, if I say Calcutta, that Calcutta situated as such a place where the North 24 Parganas district and South 24 Parganas districts combine, but there is a Calcutta which is separately governed by a municipal body. Now there are municipalities which are the smaller Nagar Palikas, and we have the city councils or Nagar Panchayats, which are in the transitionary phase from the rural local body to the city bodies. And under all, we have the wards. So ward and the gram sabhas or the grams are the lowest boundaries or the limited boundaries that has been accepted by the constitution. So we have ward, we have panchayats, we have municipalities, then we move up, we have the districts, the tehsils, then the divisions, then the state government and the union government. Now these are all very, very well structured and well functioning. Now, when we talk about the government accounting in the central and the state government, let's keep it separate. Now, since there is a timing, I mean, we have a paucity of time because everything has to be closed by 45 to 50 minutes. Now, just I'm touching out. I cannot go into much detail. Now, the government accounting in India, that is the central government and the state government, it follows cash basis of accounting. Now, all accountants will understand what is cash basis of accounting. I will not repeat anything about cash basis, but just to give an idea, cash basis only recognizes the receipts and payments of the government. So on one side, they record the receipt, and on the other side, they record the payments. Now, obviously, there is no balance sheet. There is no profit and loss account. So if I say that how much value of roads government of India has, now this probably cannot be told very quickly because we don't have a balance sheet. We don't have a fixed asset register. Now, Article 112, please mark these articles of the Constitution. These are very, very important. Article 112 of the Constitution says, India will prepare an annual financial statement, AFS, will prepare an annual financial statements, and that statement, after the consent of the President, will be laid before both houses of the Parliament. Now, friends, this is called annual financial statements, which we colloquially call the union budget. So basically, whatever the union budgets are placed, it is actually an annual financial statement is being presented where they are actual for 1 year, a revised estimate, a budget estimate, and a revised estimate, and the next year's budget. So this total becomes a budget document, but colloquially, but legally, this is called an annual financial statement. Article 112. Please go through the article. I'm not repeating anything about Article 112 here. Article 113 of the Constitution says, what is the procedure in the Parliament with respect to the estimates? That means what estimates you have placed, what are the procedures there? Please go through that. Very interesting. Article 114 of the Constitution talks about appropriation bills. So these three articles of the Constitution basically guide the presentation of financial statements, the procedure in Parliament to accept those financial statements, and the preparation of appropriation bills. Now, absolutely transparent, absolute accountability. There is no question that any transparency or accountability is lacking or not. No, because this is such a structured system, there can never be a situation where there is lack of transparency or lack of accountability. So Government of India accounting, State Government of India accounting are transparent and accountable to the last minute details. Now, Article 150 of the Constitution says, on the advice of the Comptroller and Auditor General, they will make the basic rules relating to the accounts of the Union and the states. Therefore, the Comptroller and Auditor General is responsible to make the basic rules for the presentation of accounts of the Union and the states. Now, friends, I am again repeating, of the Union and the states, the local governments are not included here under Article 150. Now, as I've already told you, the Article 112 is basically lays down the annual financial statements along with the estimates of the next year. And this, as we all know, just recently in January, in the end of January, our Honorable Finance Minister has placed the annual financial statement and budget. So this is a every year procedure. Only during the year of an election, there is an interim budget presented, and then interim finance bill is presented, then a full finance bill is presented after the new government comes in. Now, state governments also prepare the annual financial statement in a similar manner, in a similar structure, same codes of accounts, everything same, and placed before the respective legislative assembly of the state or the union territory. Now, from 1976, the Comptroller General of Accounts, now this is CGA, not CNAG. CNAG is Comptroller and Auditor General. This is CGA, the Comptroller General of Accounts in the Department of Expenditure, under the Minister of Finance, is a principal accounting advisor to the Government of India and is responsible for the maintaining on the accounting and running the sound management accounting system. So CGA had been given the responsibility for preparing the accounts of the union government. That means all departments of the union governments are under the control of the CGA, the Comptroller General of Accounts. Now, the office of the CGA prepares all monthly and annual analysis of expenditure, revenues, borrowings, and other indicators for the union government. Again, for the union government. So CGA is responsible for the union government. Now, under the Comptroller and Auditor General's Duties, Powers, and Condition of Services Act 1971, CNAG is now responsible for compiling the accounts of all states except Goa, the Union Territories of Chandigarh, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and the Indian Audit and Accounts Department. So please note that CGA prepares the accounts of the union government, CNAG prepares the accounts of the state governments, all states except Goa, and the Union Territories of Chandigarh and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Now, so this is the way the accounting structure has been given, provided, legalized, and this is being followed every year by our country. Now, this is just a glimpse of I cannot show, but anyone can go and access the Ministry of Finance website. You can please download you can look into the Government of India accounts. They are well accessible. You can understand that. It's no rocket science. The tax revenues, the expenditure, department-wise, etc., all are given. So I am just presenting over here on a snapshot the 18-19 accounts. At that time, our Honorable Arun Jaitley sir was the Minister of Finance. So this is how the financial statements of the central government looks like. Now, if you look at the statement of any state government, you will find the same structure, the same codes. Now, some codes, some states may be using, some may not be using, but this is the structure of the central government accounts in India. Now, the problem, if you say, lies in the local bodies. Now, the local bodies in India, which comprises of the city corporations or the municipalities or the urban local bodies and the panchayats, now their law or the legal structure comes from the state government. Now, various state governments have enacted laws, have enacted rules. So those states are following those accounting structures and etc. Some are yet to complete, some are pending, some have thought of not doing it, only following the traditional systems. So if you say, is there a uniform policy in India for the local bodies? I would say from my experience, no, it's not. Because some states have adopted, some have not adopted, some is in the process of adopting. So it's a little complicated. But one thing happened which tried to bring everybody together under the same platform. That was in 2004, when the National Municipal Accounting Manual was prepared in 2004. Now here also there is a big history, there's a long history that how this NMAM came up. Because in my other courses under the committee with various certificate courses, I've explained that how the NAM have come into shape. Now, I'm not going into the details now because there is a long history over there. Now, under that guidance, with the task force of CNAG, manual was prepared. Now, this manual was told that the state government should adopt. Now, it was told the state government should adopt. Now, why this was so? Why union government could not force that all municipalities have to follow or must follow or shall follow the NAM? Because they can't do so, because the management of the local bodies comes under the list 2 of the constitution. Therefore, central government cannot override that list in the list 2. Therefore, it has been left to the state government to decide. So therefore, what central government did in 2004, they developed a model municipal accounting manual, called it a National Municipal Accounting Manual, and then said to the state, please adopt it with the changes which you think is necessary. Now, some states have adopted, some states have not adopted. Now, here lies a total confusion. Now, if you ask me the question, is it a transparent and accountability situation is there? I would say no, it is not there as we see in the central government accounting or the state government accounting. Now, as we all understand, what's a manual? Manual is a comprehensive document. Now, you can also go and download a National Municipal Accounting Manual from the website. It's still available under the MOUHD website. Now, it's a comprehensive manual of about 700 pages, which says every debit and credit and etc. principles of accounting all have been given. Now, the expectation was that if that is consistently applied throughout the organization, then the financial statements which these local bodies would be generating would be uniform across India. Now, sorry to say, we have not achieved it yet. Now, what's the problem now? The government accounting system is purely running on a cash basis, but in the case of local bodies, some municipalities have already adopted the double entry accrual accounting system. Some municipalities are still following the cash-based single entry system. Some municipalities are following both. That means the consultants or the CA, the chartered accountant firms come and prepare under the new method, and they follow the old method. Now, it's a little hodgepodge over there. So now the state government have to take a call, because again, the central government cannot do so. The state government have to take a call and make this system transparent so that the accountability can be fixed, because the data is not residing always within the municipality. Sometimes the data is residing in third-party servers or in the firm of the chartered accountants or those who are preparing it. So there lies the problem of accountability there. So here there is a lot of scope where the government of India can think about, can look into. So the ULBs must be brought into a single system. And the system that has been told by NAM is that you shift from cash-based to accrual-based and from single entry to double entry. So this has already been told, adopted, accepted by the government of India and the Supreme Court. So now the implementation has to be there. Now, as I've already said, whether it's a NAM or the state level manual, it helps to bring all the conceptual framework of the double entry accounting system into the place. And obviously some municipalities, those who are following, I mean, some of the bigger municipalities are following, they are preparing the financial statements in such a better way. I mean, I know because I'm closely working with Kolkata, they have a big fixed asset schedule, depreciation is being provided, they are creating depreciation fund, etc., etc. So a lot of improvements has happened. Now, just to show you how the accounting in a local body structures, here we'll have tax revenues, obviously, because the local bodies have also the sovereign power to collect tax, and mostly it is the property tax. Sometimes they are collecting advertisement tax, though the new GST law has abolished advertisement tax to be collected by the municipalities. There are certain confusion behind that. Now they are collecting tax, vacant land tax, or the tax on carriages and carts. Now, there are various types of user charges, municipal fees. Then there are assigned revenues. Some revenues comes from the state government and the central government, that we call assigned revenues. They are getting grants in it. They are also borrowing. They are issuing municipal bonds. So all these have become the important source of money. But again, until and unless the accounting becomes very transparent, sometimes this gets blurred or is not visible properly. Now, just to give an expenditures details of the local government, salaries, rents, taxes, operation and maintenance, power, fuel, capital expenditure would be huge. Like this, they are creating water treatment plants, storage, energy, lighting, etc., etc. So all these are coming into the balance sheet now, because maximum municipalities are now preparing balance sheet. They have prepared the opening balance sheet. They have brought the legacy data, and now you can see in their balance sheet that some municipality must be holding land worth of 3,000 crores of rupees. So it's quite obvious. So the balance sheet is now visible in a municipality, but again, not uniform. Now, as I will tell you that when this conversion of accounting has happened to make it more transparent and accountable, now a proper asset verification was done. An individual asset of the municipality were measured, were taken into account. They were valued by using the valuation principles suggested by the Government of India, the Minister of Urban Development at that time. So these then brought the legacy data. Say some municipalities are 200 years old, like Corporation of Chennai. It's such an old corporation. They all brought the legacy data so that the balance sheet starts moving. Now, so these are the activities. Now, you go to any municipality or a panchayat, you will find all these assets. Now, all these assets has been brought into the accounts. So this is the start of the transparency and accountability for the local government accounting. Now, as you all know, various heritage assets are also with the municipality. So again, these heritage assets were brought into the books, maybe with a nominal value of ₹1, because this heritage asset cannot be valued. So these were all brought into the books. At least the balance sheet will show you that this asset is there in the system. Now, water treatment plants, again, I mean, I will say wherever this implementation has been done well, they have brought all these assets into the system so that the balance sheet now looks like a balance sheet of a corporate. Even some balance sheets which I have worked with in the municipalities, they are much bigger than any corporate balance sheets also in the size. Just to show you the example that how this the municipalities are preparing the financial statement. Now, this is not uniform. Now, I'm showing it for one municipality, another municipality I will be showing, they are following a different structure. These are not uniform. So this is one municipality. Previous year figures, current year figures, operating cash flows, investing cash flows are all being shown over here. Now, this is another municipality from the Northeast, from Mizoram. Again, I have worked in that, so I'm showing you this balance sheet. So basically, this is the structure of the balance sheet of a municipality now. So these are the improvement that has happened. Just another snapshot of that. This is the not the balance sheet. This is the financial statement of a panchayat in West Bengal. The panchayats are yet to move into the complete double entry actual accounting system. They are still following the cash-based system, but this is a structured receipts and payments they're generating every year, every month. So one side they're showing the receipts, and the other side the payments. And if you can look at, the receipts are matched with the payments. So there is a complete matching of receipts and payments. So how much we have received, how much we have paid. So these are the innovative things that have happened to make the financial statements more transparent, and so that the accountability can be fixed. So these are the improvements that have happened, and a lot of scope of their improvements are going on. This is another snapshot of the receipts and payments of a panchayat in West Bengal. Now, coming to the very fag end of my presentation. Now, just I want to give you a thought that we have a GASAB, or a Government Accounting Standards Advisory Board, Now, hopefully most of our members will know about it. Those who are new, they must understand this GASAP is like our institute. Like our institute frames policies and the accounting standards for corporates. The GASAP is for the government. Now, GASAP has been constituted by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, the CNAG. Now, and they are working on the migration to accrual-based accounting now in union and states. Now, just imagine the local bodies have already migrated, may not be fully, to the accrual-based accounting system. Now, the government of India is seriously thinking that how to migrate the state governments and the union government departments to the accrual accounting system. Now, already our institute is working with the Indian Railways. I know the Indian Railways project has gone much ahead, that how the Indian Railways, which is one of the biggest department in India, with so much of assets, how they are bringing the system or their data into the balance sheet or into the double entry accounting system. It's a huge work going on. Now, others will follow one by one. So GASAP is basically helping and assisting for this migration and for these accounting frameworks, accounting standards, etc., etc. Now, what the GASAP is basically doing, GASAP is formulating and recommending the Indian government accounting standards, which we call IGAS, for the cash system of accounting. So GASAP is not only working for the accrual accounting, in parallel they're working for the cash system of accounting. They are formulating the Indian government accounting standards, and for the accrual system of accounting, with a view to improving the standards of governmental accounting and financial reporting, they are developing the IGFRS, the Indian Government Financial Reporting Standards, IGFRS. So these are the two things the GASAP is doing, and they're working very closely that to improve, to make the state government and the central government accounts more transparent, so that accountability can be fixed. Now, as I understand, I am not very sure that. Just hold on. Just hold on. Shabi, you have made a question that I should continue to 12:50. So 12:50, I'm going by my watch. Okay, another 20 minutes then. Okay, fine, thank you. Now, the IGFRS, basically what the GASAP has done till now is the presentation of the financial statement. IGFRS 1 has been developed. Now, please, anybody can go to the GASAP website. You can check. Now, but one thing I can say, I mean, to the members of the institute, if you look at IGFRS 1, the presentation of financial statements, you will find very much similarity with our own accounting standards. Now, basically, what GASAP is doing, GASAP is strictly following IPSAS. IPSAS is International Public Standard of Public Sector Accounting Standard, IPSAS, which is whose board is located in UK. So IPSAS gives the governmental accounting standards of all government bodies, and then the IGFRS is basically I won't say a total replica, but has been taken there from. So some of the ideas, because we cannot deviate from IPSAS very blindly, because IPSAS controls all the government systems of the world. So it is there. And then IGFRS 2 is the property, plant, and equipment. Now, again, we know what property, plant, and equipment is all about, because if you look at IPSAS, IPSAS also gives the same name of that standard. Then revenue from government exchange transaction. Now, here I want to go a little bit technical, since as Shabi told me that I have some time left to detail out. Now, government's exchange transactions and government non-exchange transactions. Now, in our government accounting system, when government earns revenue, we have to ask ourselves, by accepting this revenue, are we giving you back anything? That means, suppose if Mr. X comes today to me and say to the government, this is my 2,000 rupees, sir, please take it. Then as a government, I will say, will I give you back anything? Now, when this question comes to my mind, then I will ask, what is the nature of this revenue? If it is a tax, then I just collect the tax and give him nothing. Now, when I collect the tax and give him nothing, then it is called government's non-exchange transaction. Then it is called government's non-exchange transaction, because by this transaction, there is no exchange of inputs and outputs. So this is a one-way transaction. Now, some people might ask, why shall I do that? Then I will ask, then sir, why do you pay your income tax? Now, by paying income tax, do you expect anything in return on the day you are paying your advance tax or TDS or anything? No, because these taxes are accumulated for the government to spend on major projects like ports, airports, national highways, etc., etc. So this is what government gives you back after a certain point of time, but not immediately. So this money that you pay as income tax, or say wealth tax, or sometime before gift tax, these are all income from non-exchange transactions. In the case of a municipality, the property tax becomes a non-exchange transaction, because when a person pays property tax, he can never expect that I will get a big bowl of mangoes or a big bowl of rasagullas. He cannot expect that, because the property tax is in the nature of a non-exchange transaction. But what a municipality does with that money, the municipality accumulates the property tax and construct a culvert, construct streetlights, construct some roads, they put some road furniture, they make it beautiful, the city looks beautiful. Nowadays we are in the world of smart cities. So all these things are done out of these taxes. So therefore these are non-exchange transactions. Now, there is a public auditorium maintained by the government or a public auditorium maintained by a municipality. Now there is an art exhibition going on. I want to go and visit that art exhibition. I am stopped at the gate and said, sir, you have to purchase a ticket to go inside. That means the municipality is charging me a fee or a charge to allow me inside. Now this is called exchange transaction. Now, why this is exchange transaction? Because with the money that I'm giving, I'm getting back something. So this is called exchange transactions. Now, a municipality or a government or a state government has got a distinct list that which of the items are for exchange transactions and which are the items for non-exchange transactions. Now, inventories. Now, I won't say anything on the inventories. Now, GASB has come up with a standard on inventories, but basically, if you look at today, very few municipalities or very few state governments are holding large amount of inventories like a corporate, because government bodies are not manufacturing bodies, they are the user bodies. So when there is a construction of a road, they will design the road and they will hire a consultant. So when they hire a consultant, whether it's a DBOT contract or a DBO contract or just a design contract, so the materials are purchased by the contractor. They lay the road, and the government gets a complete road. But in some cases, some municipalities or some government departments have to maintain an inventory where their repairs and maintenance or preventive maintenance or disaster management maintenance are the prime. So inventories, though it's important, but it is not very important or immediate important in a government setup. Definitely, if I talk about, say, electricity companies or electricity department, then it becomes important. But it is not so you will find inventory in a government setup. And the IGFRS 5, I would say they have come up with contingent liabilities disclosure, contingent liabilities and contingent assets. Now, I will never explain what is a contingent liability and contingent asset to chartered accountants. They all know. Yes, contingent liabilities is a major problem in government accounting system, because when we had been working on the migration of accounts from the cash base to accrual base, and we were working on the off balance sheet items, because contingent liabilities and contingent assets are off balance sheet items. Now, we had a horrible time to find out that how many cases are pending against the municipality or the government, and how many cases have been resolved or solved, the decrees are there. So it's a challenge, because once the case is filed, there may be a law department or legal department in the municipality or in the state government. They might be chasing the lawyer to represent the case, but you don't know that what is the outcome of the case. Now, if the government has lost the case, then they will pay a sum of money. And if they won the case, they may never expect to earn that money also. So arbitration cases are very much common nowadays in government departments. So therefore, contingent liabilities identification is a challenging task, because many of the people of the municipality or of the government may not be aware, because people get transferred. They don't know. Sometimes the files are not kept properly. So contingent liabilities and contingent assets is a difficult thing to determine. But GASAB has already come up with this standard, so it's a good one. But one need to work on that. But other IGFRS are missing. Now there are many IPSAS. If you go to the IPSAS, you will find IPSAS is a very comprehensive document of various things. But GASB probably is working on that. And also, I would say, because under the 15th Finance Commission, there was a recommendation at the time of the initiation of the commission. I have not read the commission's final report, because I'm in Bangladesh for the last 3-4 months, so I could not lay a hand on that. But the 15th Finance Commission, initially they said that there need to be a harmonization of codes between the central government, the state government, and the local government. So some work is going on in this harmonization of codes. But again, as a personally, I can tell you this is another challenging task, because at this point, Government of India and the state governments are following pure cash-based accounting. And since 2004, a lot of efforts have gone behind the municipalities and the panchayats to make them to convert them to accrual based. Now, if there is a harmonization of codes, there must be a harmonization of the system also. Until and unless the codes cannot become harmonized. So, I mean, that's my personal opinion. Please don't quote me anywhere, but to explain to the members, I would say this will be a challenge. So this is all about the what you call this topic, which is again, I will say, a very good topic, but 45 minutes to discuss accountability and transparency in government accounting is a real challenge for the speaker. But I tried to keep it short. And hopefully, if I get another chance in the future with a little extra time, I would be definitely working on some other things to discuss about government accounting in India. Now, anyone can throw the question. I am just stopping the screen. Now, please throw your question, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. A few questions from the members. First is, what is the way forward which you see and perceive the credit accountants?
Shivani,
what role can they play in enhancing the
Shivani, I'm not getting you clearly. Can you be please clear?
Okay. Yes, sir. So what is the way forward which you see and perceive for the chartered accountants? What role can they play in enhancing the transparency and accountability in government financial reporting and management?
That's a very pertinent question to a chartered accountant from another chartered accountant, hopefully. Now, to the chartered accountant who has raised this question, and to many chartered accountants who have not raised this question. Now, for your kind information, sir, I don't want to tell about me, but here I want to say I qualified in 1998, and between 1998 and 2004, I was in pure practice. I used to go to the income tax appellate tribunals also. But from 2004, my institute has given me an opportunity to come to the development sector and work. Now, since 2004 until today, I am in this sector. Now, definitely opportunities are there for chartered accountants. I mean, because we chartered accountants are definitely that worthy to work in any field and across any aspect and across any prism. So that much I can feel. Now, because as you all know, passing a chartered accountancy exam in India is no joke. So we have done that. When we have passed our exams, so we can pass any border and any stream. Yes, the problem is that the opportunities should come from the government first, because you and me cannot walk into a government department and say them, see, I'm a chartered accountant. My colleague is also a chartered accountant. I have a team of chartered accountants behind me. So please give us some job. No, they don't understand. They can't give the job. Now, these reforms, like that happened in our municipal sector, in the urban sector, by the opening up of the detailing of the NAM and etc. So until unless the government open up, and I won't say why not institute go and talk to the government, that they are doing, I know. Now, these opportunities will not come just like that. Now, we have to be prepared. But I hope, at least in my experience of this last 18 years in this sector, I can say, yes, scope are there. One need to understand the scope, one need to collaborate, one need to work. But again, at least also pray before the God and the Allah that does such opportunities come. So immediately, I can't say where from the opportunities will come. But if opportunity comes, then all chartered accountants should be prepared for that. Shubhani.
Yeah, so next question is, if political philosophy of state government differ from central government and that results in non-spending of allocated funds, does it fall in line with good governance?
No, I would say it's not a good governance, it's a bad governance, because central government has given funds for the state government to spend on some specific areas. Now one thing I should tell you, a major change. Now, if somebody is interested, please go through the budgets or the annual financial statements of the government prior to 2014 and after 2014. Now, you will find a big change. Now, this change has been brought into by our honorable late Arun Jaitley sir. Now, the major change that has happened is that previously the budget is to be allocated between planned funds and non-planned funds. Now, planned funds are those which are regularly planned, like salaries, etc., and non-planned funds were that which was not planned before but happens. So there was a concept of plan and non-plan. Suppose there is a water supply department budget, a certain amount of money is to be kept in the planned budget or the planned funds, and some under the non-plan. The plan are the salaries and the regular expenditures, the non-plan are the other expenditures. Now, as an accountant, it always confused me that everything is planned in government, nothing comes without plan. Then why is this plan and non-plan? Now, I kept the question to myself. Then in 2017 and 18, probably my voice was heard by Mr. Arun Jaitley, and he broke this concept. Now, what he did is the budget will now be prepared between capital budget and revenue budget. Now, this is an important step in the budgeting system of in India. Now, therefore, the capital budget and revenue budget is now more understandable. Under the revenue heads, you put salaries, purchase of consumables, etc., and under the capital budget, you put the assets. Now, this major change has happened. Now, when a money comes from a capital budget or say a revenue budget to the state government, it comes with a purpose. Now, under the 14th Finance Commission, what the 14th Finance Commission did, now please, again, my colleagues, please go through this document, because until and unless you understand these documents, it will not be easy to understand the whole realms of the government accounting in India. And the 14th Finance Commission, what did, it increased the divisible pool. That means there's a pool of funds, divisible pool, from about 32% to 42%. So there was a big shift in the divisible pool. And what happened in that divisible pool, what Government of India did, kept many of the funds untied. UNTIED, untied funds. That means state government can spend those funds for any purpose they wish, and some funds were kept under tied fund. That means if it comes for water supply, it has to be spent for water supply, nothing else, because then only the utilization certificate goes accordingly. Now, the fellow chartered accountant who has asked me this question, so first need to tell me whether these funds is under the untied funds or under the tied funds. If the tied funds money are lying unutilized, then that money should go back to Government of India, because they don't have a scheme to utilize that. And if it is lying under untied funds, probably the law says that they can utilize this money for any purpose they like. So the question, whoever the question maker must clearly say that where from these funds are lying. And if it is lying in a legacy funds, that means it lasts 20 years, then they should write to the Government of India to do it. But the question that you have asked, if it is lying idle, unspent, it is not good governance. It is bad governance. Question, Shivani.
Just a minute, sir. What type of accounting do Nepal and Bangladesh government use? Do the Nepal and Bangladesh government use accrual accounting?
you are now giving me Imran Khan bouncers. Now let me first tell about Bangladesh. Now in Bangladesh, the government account now in Bangladesh, one should understand, in Bangladesh there are only two layers of government. One is the central government, that is the union government, and then there's a local government. There is no provincial or state government in between. Now the union government follows cash-based accounting system like the India is doing. Now, in other countries are also following the cash-based accounting system, because this cash-based accounting system is a legacy system introduced by the Britishers. Now, please understand, Bangladesh was no different from India prior to 1947. So, after 1947, Bangladesh went under the Pakistan law till 71. Then 71, they got the independence and they became independent. But the rules, but the accounting system, what Bangladesh government is following now, the central government, is still the legacy system of the Britishers that we are also following. That is cash-based accounting system. Now, in the case of the local government, now I will not give much details because these discussions are going with me with the ministry over here. But I would say the local governments are also following the cash-based system. But there is a push now. I mean, we are pushing that why not you people convert it to the accrual based of accounting. So that work is going on, and that is we are working on that. But to be very briefly say, Bangladesh government is still following cash based accounting system, whether it is the national government or whether it is the lower government. Now Nepal is a very, very complicated situation, I would say. Now I mean, whatever I've learned from Nepal, I'm working in Nepal, is that Nepal has got a union government. Nepal has got 7 state governments or provincial governments, and then they have got 753 local governments. Now, there the local governments are divided between Gaon Palika, that is a village panchayat, and Nagar Palika, which is a municipality. Now, I don't want to comment on a very official platform, but I have to. The constitution of Nepal is very complicated. Now, they also have got 3 list of functions between the center, the state, and the union government and the local government. Now, some of the law making, like the education law, it can be done by anyone. That means there can be 771 laws on only education. That means a municipality can make an education law, 753 municipal laws. There are 7 state governments, they can make law on the same subject of education. So 753 plus 7 is 760. And the union government can also make law 1, that is 761. So technically there can be 761 laws only to guide education. Now, there are various functions, there are various options, so there can be multiple laws. Now, if you talk about what system of accounting they are following, they are also following the British age-old policies of cash-based accounting. So in Nepal, it is yet to start. Yet to start on anything, but Bangladesh still have made some progress, but they did not fully complete that. But hopefully they will do it. But Nepal, and the Nepal constitution is very new also. That came in the year 2015. So 2015, they are yet to understand the total implications of the Nepalese constitution. And the Nepalese constitution is a mixture of the American constitution, a British constitution, and the Indian constitution. So, I mean, the clarity which I read, I mean, I do read the constitution very regularly, but the constitution is not very clear. I mean, it's a little confusing. So the answer is that they are absolutely following the cash-based accounting, where I can always say that India has made sufficient progress in converting the municipal level accounting at least to the accrual base. They have made sufficient progress. Now, I have not worked in Sri Lanka and other places, so I don't know about the others, or Pakistan. I don't know about the other countries in the subcontinent, but these 3 I can say this is the situation. Shivani, question.
Yes, sir. How far use of blockchain technology in the government accounting infrastructure can help in good governance to enhance the transparency and information can be accessible to the common man?
Shivani, I'm very sorry. I don't know anything about blockchains and cryptocurrencies. So kindly excuse me on that question. I am still an old person who still follows checks and cash and credit cards and online payments, blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. I don't know. So sorry, I cannot take this question. Sorry. Whoever is the questioner, please excuse me. I am not an expert on blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies.
Okay,
Shivani.
sir. So that was the last question. Thank you very much for informative presentation and creating awareness on the topic.
Yeah. So
I
will only request Shivani. I don't know when I will be available next, but I will tell you and Shabi that this particular session was very interesting to me also. I mean, when Shabi shared the presentation topic, I would have said no because my tight schedule in Bangladesh and my work over here, I should have said no. But just looking at the topic, I felt now this is a good topic. I mean, for the last few topics, I had only been talking about accrual accounting in ULBs, but this is really a nice topic that you people have selected. I missed Harish Ji's presentation because I was not available at that time. I would have loved to have joined that. But any questions you people will take and you can send me over by emails. I will respond it also. Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
On behalf of ICAI, I would like to thank you all the participants also for joining the webinar and making it a successful event. We hope that you all have found the sessions knowledgeable. If you want to know more about public finance and government accounting, you can join the next batch of certificate course on public finance and government accounting, which is commencing from 3rd April. An announcement for the same has already been hosted at the Institute's website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shivani. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We are closing the session now. Thank you.